Live from the Jersey Shore to the world. Get up, get out, do something. Wake up with Jeremy Grunin. Take the show wherever you go. Download the free Radio Pup app for your smartphone and tablet. Join the conversation. 732-505-1160. News Talk Radio WOBM AM 1160 and 1310. Listen online at WOBMAM.com.
Hey, welcome back. Wake up with Jeremy Grunin, 7:09, Wednesday, October 26, 34 degrees, getting up to 53 today. WOBM AM 1160 and 1310. News Talk Radio. Stream live on the Radio Pup app and WOBMAM.com. 732-505-1160 to join the conversation. We are now joined in the studio by Bob Adams. He is the interim president at Southern Ocean Medical Center. Good morning, sir. How are you?
Good morning, Jeremy. How are you?
I am fantastic. So, interim president. So, that sounds like a good title for what we should have, actually, in January. It could be just like maybe we could just give a little dress rehearsal and then move along. But so how long have you been at Southern Ocean?
I've been at Southern Ocean since January. I started in January as the chief operating officer, and I took on this new role October 1st as interim president.
Very cool. So congratulations.
Thank you.
And where were you? And so how long you been in the system? How long you been kind of doing, working your way up the hospital ladder?
I've been with Hackensack Meridian for 24 years now. I started my career at Jersey Shore University Medical Center in late 1992 in an entry-level position there in the emergency department, and have had a number of different positions through the years in management and administration. I was at Jersey Shore for 23 years before coming to Southern Ocean. The last 10 years at Jersey Shore, I was vice president of operations.
Cool. So how do you decide, when you're a younger man, when you're a younger man, how do you decide that you want to get into a hospital, like you want to work your way up like that? I mean, at the time, was it just like, I'm taking a job and then all of a sudden it develops into a career, or how does that work?
At the time, I needed a job.
Right.
And then quickly what I realized once I started working at Jersey Shore was I liked the idea of the combination of healthcare, where you're really helping people in the community. And I grew up in Neptune, was born and raised there at around Jersey Shore. And I liked the idea of giving back to the community. And I liked marrying up that concept with the concept of business,
right, and
running a business. And I think, the hospital business and healthcare presents some unique business challenges, which
Sure.
excited me.
Sure. So subsequent, have you had to go back to school? Have you had to get additional degrees? Because I'll be honest with you, I'm always amazed by the amount of knowledge that hospital presidents have to kind of have, because you kind of have to have, I would say a baseline knowledge of every area of the hospital, but it's really more than that. You kind of have to dig in a little bit in just about in every piece of running a hospital. You
do, and our organization is really committed to that ongoing learning for its leaders. I have a master's in healthcare administration, and now I'm back at school actually at Monmouth for my MBA. Through a Hackensack Meridian run program. I've also gone back and become a fellow at the American College of Healthcare Executives. So yes, it is kind of a journey with the education.
Wow. It's a lot of work and a lot of commitment. And the payoff is that you get to work about 700 hours a week and run a hospital, right?
Close to 700,
because let's be fair, the hospital's never closed, right? And things happen 24 hours a day, right?
Yep, doors are always open.
Yeah.
We're 24/7, and there's action all the time.
It's not like you're putting your phone away at like 11 o'clock at night saying, "Oh, we're closed now. All done. Now I can go to sleep." No,
that doesn't happen.
Doesn't happen. All right. Yeah. So I guess I would ask you what it is about Southern Ocean that's most appealing to you in this career move, but I think that's pretty obvious. But why don't you tell me?
Yeah, Southern Ocean, I think the most appealing thing for me is it was kind of the next step in terms of advancement for me and taking on more responsibility. But the attraction with Southern Ocean is the growth. The growth we've experienced from the Manahawkin community, and actually Southern Ocean Medical Center from a hospital admission standpoint is growing faster than many of the legacy Meridian hospitals, as well as the hospitals within the Hackensack Meridian network. So a lot of the growth happening there and the building of the business there was a big part of the attraction for me.
Right. So you touched on the Hackensack Meridian merger, right? So really, how does that kind of benefit patients who live in this part of the state, right? Like what's the payoff of having a larger network and having adding the extra name to Meridian?
Well, there's a lot of benefits, and the power of that entire network is brought to the patients of Southern Ocean County through a lot of our quality and safety initiatives, as well as the academics and the education that hospitals like Hackensack University Medical Center and Jersey Shore University Medical Center bring to the network. There's also the power of transferring patients throughout the network for specialty services that you might need, whether it's cardiac surgery or pediatric intensive care programs at Jersey Shore or neonatal. So through our transfer center, we have a tight network where we can take patients that need a higher level of care than we may offer at Southern Ocean and quickly transfer them to one of the other network hospitals.
Cool. Yeah, I think that's it, and it all kind of goes together in this healthcare continuum as we get, which is a kind of a sexy phrase now as we talk about how you're building this network of not only hospitals but also urgent care facilities and rehab facilities and gyms and the whole nine to make sure that we're maintaining a healthy community. And really kind of also keeping folks out of the hospital as best we can. Right. So tell us about some of the exciting things that are happening at Southern Ocean. For example, I know there's some cool things happening with patient admissions.
Right. Well, we've been growing, and it all goes back to the growth. I think we are up 5% this year compared to last year. So that means to me that people in our community are choosing Southern Ocean over other hospitals, which is a great thing. We continue to build our programs around surgery and other programs that the community needs. We've got a very busy emergency department. We have a newly renovated and created emergency department 3 years ago, which has been growing over the past 3 years. So that's kind of the front door to the community, our ED. We've got a couple of projects in the imaging area this year. We're going to be adding a 128-slice CT scanner, so that'll bring some new capabilities for us. And last year we opened up a new patient care unit. So we've been growing so significantly that we opened up another 20 beds at the hospital. Right. So a lot of good things happening.
Yeah, it's always an unusual conversation when you talk about a hospital getting busier, right? Because it's like, I'll give you a perfect example. So locally, when Seaside Heights was at its height, right, and during, I guess, the Jersey Shore days, right, where it was JWoww and Snooki and the whole nine, and it was known for being kind of a little rambunctious, right? And so Friday nights and Saturday nights were a little bit hectic there. That was really good for business at the local hospital, right? Because you had a lot of folks checking into the ER, right? As Seaside Heights has kind of tailed off, well, that hurts business. But it's just amazing the correlation of, it's almost an odd counterintuitive, like, catastrophe strikes. It's like, it's great. It's good for the hospital. Way to go.
Yeah, it's a funny dynamic.
Yeah, it's a little bit awkward. Like, it's your of how you deal with things. So, what I do want to talk about though when we come back is I'd like to be able to talk about the new cancer center, right? Because I know that's really exciting for Southern Ocean Medical Center, and I'd like to make sure our listeners know all about it. Cool?
Sounds good.
All right, good. We're here with Bob Adams, Interim President, Southern Ocean Medical Center. Wake Up with Jeremy Grunin back after this.
Everything you need to know about the Jersey Shore. This is Wake Up with Jeremy Grunin. News Talk Radio, WOBM AM 1160 and 1310.
Hey, welcome back. Wake Up with Jeremy Grunin. It is 7:21. We're here with Bob Adams. He is the Interim President at Southern Ocean Medical Center. We're talking about some of the cool things happening in the southern part of the county. I know we just opened a new cancer center, so why don't you talk to us about that? What's going on there?
Sure, thank you. Yes, in September we opened up a little over a $20 million expansion of a multidisciplinary cancer center, including a new area for outpatient chemotherapy. And then the last piece of the project that we're just finishing now is adding a new linear accelerator for radiation therapy patients. So this project has 4 main components. The first is a multidisciplinary cancer center where we're taking kind of a new model for treating cancer patients. So instead of going to individual appointments as a cancer patient to see maybe your oncologist, your radiation therapist, your hematologist, we bring all of those providers to the patient for one longer appointment where you get kind of a multidisciplinary full spectrum of care so that it's more efficient for the patient and it's more coordinated. So we just opened up a brand new center for that. We opened up a brand new outpatient infusion center for chemotherapy patients. A lot of natural light coming in, bigger windows, a lot of nice finishes, a lot of comfortable amenities for patients and families that are going through that difficult stage of their care. The last piece that I mentioned was the radiation therapy center where early in December we will partially close our radiation therapy center and transfer a lot of those patients to Ocean Medical Center while over about a 3 to 4 month period, we do some renovations and we bring in a new state-of-the-art linear accelerator for patients that need radiation therapy. So big project, desperately needed for the community, and we're bringing a whole new level of cancer care to the patients of Southern Ocean.
So there's a lot of loot involved in doing all this, right? So how do you guys how do you keep the community involved? I mean, how do you raise money to fund? Well, I mean, what you've talked about so far. I mean, I'm no abacus, but you talked about a $20 million expansion. I mean, I know linear accelerators. That's not a cheap piece of technology. So where does that all come from?
Well, we have a lot. We're a financially strong organization,
right.
And this cancer project that I'm talking about at Southern Ocean is just one piece of a cancer care project across the legacy Meridian hospitals that was worth about $350 million with cancer center projects at each of the hospitals. So we're financially strong. We save our money, and we take some money out of savings, and then we borrow some money to get these projects done. We also do a lot of fundraising. And as a matter of fact, the TrueBeam linear accelerator at Southern Ocean Medical Center, the money that is going for that was raised by our auxiliaries at Southern Ocean, which we have a very robust auxiliary foundation,
right.
And a very robust volunteer department that has been very generous in contributing, through the years to the hospital. So we raise a lot of funds for these projects. We tap into our savings, and we're a financially strong organization. And then we borrow some money to get it done too.
Right. So I know you got this whole Martin Truex kind of synergy going, right? Because it's the Martin Truex Pediatric Care Center in the ED. So. And I asked your predecessor this, who I'm happy to say is still with the organization, right, and just in a new expanded role within.
Yes.
Yeah, so that's great. So I asked him, and he was. I said, listen, at what point have you gone to an auto race? And he said never. So are you a NASCAR fan?
No, not really.
No, but like, are you? Don't you think like you got Martin
Maybe
Truex, who's like a this is a big deal, right? This is not some this is a big guy,
right?
Don't you think you should show support? Don't you think you should get into the beer guzzling?
I appreciate you calling me out on it, Jeremy.
No, I mean I'm just throwing it out there for you. You don't feel good about that?
I probably should,
because it's a party atmosphere when you're going to a NASCAR race.
It certainly is. I've never experienced it, but from what I've heard, it is a party atmosphere.
But you're saying that it's not out of the realm of possibility that you would partake in that kind of a bonding experience for the good of the organization.
No, it's not out of the realm.
Good. Okay.
No,
I just wanted to make sure.
I could go there.
Okay. I just want to make sure, because again, you want to make sure you're doing everything you can to keep the organization successful. And we know that Martin Truex has been a big part of that. When we come back, I want to talk about any kind of special initiatives you have underway. We'll hit on some of the new doctors that are at Southern Ocean, and then maybe you can see what you're going to do with your interim magic wand. Okay?
Sounds great.
Cool. Bob Adams, interim president, Southern Ocean Medical Center. Wake up with Jeremy Grunin. We're going to be back after this.
The news never stops at WOBMAM.com. Get the latest from WOBM News, the Town Square, New Jersey News Network, and Fox News Radio. Wake up with Jeremy Grunin. News Talk Radio, WOBM AM 1160 and 1310. Live from the Bob Levy Broadcast Center, overlooking the Toms River, it's time to get up, get out, do something. Wake up with Jeremy Grunin. Be a part of the show. 732-505-1160. News Talk Radio, WOBM AM 1160 and 1310. Listen online at WOBMAM.com.
Hey, welcome back. Wake up with Jeremy Grunin. 7:35 Wednesday, October 26, 34 degrees, getting up to 53 today. WOBM AM 1160 and 1310. News Talk Radio, stream live on the radio pop app and WOBMAM.com. 732-505-1160. Join the conversation. We are joined by Bob Adams. He is the interim president of Southern Ocean Medical Center. And we are talking about what's new, exciting, fun, interesting at Southern Ocean Medical Center. So I know there's a bunch of special initiatives that you have underway to focus on the patient experience. So why don't you enlighten us?
Yeah, I'll just talk about a couple. I mean, and we do a lot of training with our team members and our medical staff on how to be more responsive and and improve the patient experience for people. We've got a lobby renovation going on, about an $800,000 lobby renovation, utilizing funds that came from our foundation to kind of create a new patient experience, a new first impression for people right in the door. That project is about ready to kick off. The other thing that I'll talk about is we've been spending a lot of time training all of our leaders on rounding. So we spend a lot of time, myself and everybody on the management team, visiting patients, visiting team members on the floors, trying to be more responsive to their needs. And doing that goes a long way to improving both the team member engagement and experience as well as the patient experience. I love going to visit patients. You know, I visit a few patients a week. You go in, talk to them about what's going on, see if there's anything that they need, see if we're meeting all their needs. They find it very satisfying to see the management team rounding. Yeah. It helps us get out in front of what their needs are so that we're being less reactive and more proactive. So we strive to improve the patient experience. We've done a good job in terms of the results that we've seen from satisfaction surveys and the feedback that we get from patients as we round on the floor. There's always room to improve, but it is one of our primary objectives to improve that patient experience.
Right. We used to call that, in my business, we used to call that manage by walking around.
Yeah.
Right, which is it seems so basic, but you get so stuck in paralysis of analysis that you're looking at one report after another and trying to manage reports and numbers instead of just walking around and meeting patients. And so that's awesome. And so kind of along the same vein, you know, I think really, you know, the most important part of any hospital is, it's twofold, right? It's the doctors and it's the nurses, right? And let's be honest. Great doctors help you recruit great nurses and vice versa, right? If you have a great nursing team, then doctors want to work with great nurses. Because so I know that there's been a big recruitment effort underway to bring new doctors into the fold. So why don't you talk about that for a second?
We've been recruiting doctors. We're recruiting both primary care physicians as well as specialists. And on the primary care network, we have a couple of different markets where we're looking to recruit doctors. We've got the Forked River market, the Manahawkin market, the Little Egg Harbor market. So we work with recruiting firms, and we have a lot of physicians coming in, and we want to try to place them either with existing practices where we may need some more support because we have a growing demand, or we put them in an area where we feel like we need to expand our network. Right. So there's a lot of activity around primary care physician recruitment as well as specialty recruitments in terms of surgeons. We recently recruited Dr. Matty Jung, who was here, I believe, on talking to you recently, an ear, nose, and throat doctor, bringing some new procedures and new capabilities to the patients of Southern Ocean. Dr. Stanley Michael, who's an orthopedic surgeon, has been with us a little over a year now, is one of the only doctors in the area to offer the anterior approach to hip replacement, smaller incision, quicker recovery. Another one is Dr. Robert Koo, a colorectal surgeon. I mentioned the multidisciplinary cancer care center, and Dr. Koo is a key component of that, being a colorectal surgeon. So we have a number of other surgeons that are on the list that we want to recruit to bring those services to the patients of the Manahawkin area in Southern Ocean County.
So it must be a little bit of a challenge. I know it's a challenge here because one of the things is that you also need folks that are going to be able to be on call, right? And so they have to live within a certain perimeter of a certain area of the hospital. And listen, I mean, while Southern Ocean County is a nice area, right? It's a little different. You know, it's not like recruiting for a North Jersey hospital where you can live in some swish neighborhood in North Jersey, or you can, where you're right outside the city. So there are some inherent challenges to being in a I'll say a more sparsely populated area.
It does have its challenges depending on the recruitment that you're going after, and it has to be the right fit. And in some cases, it takes us a little bit more time. We've been looking for a thoracic surgeon for some time now, and many of the candidates that we've had have been either attracted to more of an academic setting or more of a setting that has different capabilities that we may not have at Southern Ocean. When we talked before about the power of the network, one of the good things about the Hackensack Meridian Health Network is that physicians that come on board at Southern Ocean can have access to different capabilities. They can get involved in teaching activities at Jersey Shore or at Hackensack. They can get involved in other activities at some of the other hospitals within the network. So in some cases, the recruitment does present a challenge for us. We have done a good job selling Southern Ocean,
right? And
I think the physicians that have joined the team have been happy, have realized that it's a real growing community and that we have a lot to offer.
Right, it's a growing community, and it's obviously a growing and kind of constantly evolving hospital. So that makes it a lot easier. All right, it's that time. We give you the magic wand. Bob Adams, interim president, Southern Ocean Medical Center. What are you doing with it besides obviously going to a NASCAR race?
Oh gosh, this is I've been sitting here thinking about this one. I mean, there's so many things that you could do, and I'm just thinking about I'd want to do something for the team members and the physicians that work at Southern Ocean. We have and I guess I'll just throw this out there. It'd be great to have an on-site fitness center for our team members and our physicians. We have fitness centers in our network. We have one located a short ways away from Southern Ocean, but it would be great to have the space and the money to have, against all other priorities, to have a nice fitness center, pool, everything right there on campus, locker room, everything like that for our team members to enjoy. So I guess that's my wish list item for this morning.
That's in your campaign platform.
I don't know about that.
Well, listen, I think anyway. All right, great. Well, listen, where could folks learn more about Southern Ocean Medical Center? Is there a website, or where could they go?
Yeah, you can visit our website. You can check that out anytime. There's lots of different links there to find out information about our products and services. We just recently revamped the website, the Hackensack Meridian Health website, where you can see all of the hospitals and all of the different providers and entities within the network. And if you want information specific about Southern Ocean, you can find that there too.
Cool. Bob Adams, interim president, Southern Ocean Medical Center. Listen, thank you so much for joining us. We'll be rooting for you, and we'll have you back when the interim's gone. Okay.
I appreciate that, Jeremy. Thank you.
Wake up with Jeremy Grunin. Back with more after this.